So because I'm making YouTube videos, I'm dumb. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly done hearing that we can be only just one thing. And particularly women, you can be either ambitious or you're sensitive. You can be beautiful or smart. Like two different things cannot coexist. And I don't think it reflects who I am. I don't think it reflects who any human being is. You can't be just this linear person that has only one thing going on in their life. You're on camera, Mocha. I've been a traveler, a backpacker for some years, a surfer, a dancer. I've been working corporate jobs for some years as well. I also became an entrepreneur. I went to more formal events when you had to, meet up with capital investors. And yet I'm still this person that's very simple and very goofy at heart. Different things can coexist. And the problem is that for years, and even sometimes to this day, I felt like I had to pick one of the versions to be taken seriously. And most of the time, it couldn't be the goofy version. And I'm not blaming others saying that it's some sort of conscious pressure that people put on you. But I do certainly think that people tend to judge you and to think less of you if they see certain side of you. And that, for instance, if you're an entrepreneur, a founder, if you have like some responsibility, if you have a corporate job, and somehow your colleagues get to see yourself doing something that you're really bad at, or to try something new and not look composed, like you have it together and you're fully in control, they will tend unconsciously to think less of you and to judge you, to think that you're less professional, maybe, that you're less credible, that you have less of an authority. And that's something I've been very conscious about very early on in my life. And it was very conflicting because being this multifaceted woman is not confusion. It's not being scattered. It's actually a richness about myself. It's something to be proud of. But somehow you're made to think like you shouldn't be proud of it. And I've been thinking a lot about where this kind of dichotomy came from of you have to be either or, and where this societal conditioning comes from. And what it is that the cultural narrative is usually people telling you, pick a lane or you'll confuse people. And I actually have some personal example about that because I've been having interviews some years ago. And at the time I was not nearly as unapologetically multifaceted as I am today. I was trying to pick a lane, but I was not capable of doing it because it's just not in my nature. So I had been already changing universities and changing what I was studying for quite some time, right? And I go to this interview for my first corporate job. And this HR person, very nice, very sweet, and she actually ended up giving me the job. She asked me explicitly, so how do you justify that you've been studying so many different things? And how do you explain it? How do you bring coherence to this? To which I answered, even at the time, I was only 19 or 20. And I did tell her, well, I do think that it reflects my curiosity, that it reflects how adaptable I am. To which she said, again, very nicely, you're lucky, I'm quoting her here, you're lucky talking to me that you're having this interview with me. Because usually these interviews are being conducted by engineers from the companies and they want it like this. They want it straight. They want a straight path and something extremely coherent. And I guarantee you that you wouldn't have the job because your path doesn't sound coherent at all. So I was being told explicitly, and that's not just a me thing. It's an everybody thing, very subtly, very insidiously. We're being told almost explicitly that if you do different things, if you are curious about different paths, you are being incoherent, and this is not going to help you in the society that you live in. And I'm talking about the professional area of your life, but it applies to just everything. And I think it's, again, particularly true for women. We do go under this crazy pressure of you have to be this or this. And if you're pretty, if you're young, you cannot be smart. If you are superficial, meaning taking care of yourself, you cannot be smart. Or the other way around, if you're expected to be a smart person, if you're known to be a smart person, why are you even dressing sexy? Or why are you even taking care of yourself? You are not expected to do this. And like I said earlier, if you are expected or if you're known to be this quite serious, almost stern person, quiet person, why on earth would you be going dancing hip hop on weekends? And why would you indeed, since everyone makes you feel bad for it, because they clearly make you feel that pressure that you're not expected to do that you're not meant for it, that it doesn't fit the persona that you put out there and that you cannot change supposedly. So you cannot be too much. You can be a little bit, but you can't be too much. You can't be too loud. You can't be this and that. You have to choose, and you have to sort of minimize yourself, right? I was actually being told this exact thing again at work, from the same company actually, but by my manager this time. She told me explicitly that I needed to learn to shut my mouth, that I was speaking out too much and that I was speaking my mind too much, and that it would cost me professionally down the line because I was too honest and not playing enough the corporate game, which, as you can imagine, is something that kind of traumatized me and made me hate the corporate world kind of forever. But if that's not the most brutal way to tell you you are too much and you should shrink yourself, I don't know what is. And if you're interested in this concept, you should definitely read from Simone de Beauvoir. She's a French writer and philosopher. And in her book, The Second Sex, she explores how society constructs womanhood around this limited identity that only exists in relation to others' expectations rather than one's full identity, or rather than one's full potential. But she also goes further, and that's where it gets interested, is that she actually introduces the idea of being multifaceted in a way, because she explains that being a woman is not being born a woman, but becoming a woman, like shaping yourself as a woman. It's basically refusing the version of you that people expect from you, but rather building the versions of you over time. And that's what it means to be multifaceted. It basically means to have different sides, different aspects. It means embracing all those layers to you, all those sides to you, and refusing to just be one version of yourself. And you can embrace your intellect, your emotions, your ambition, your creativity, your softness, everything, without having to tone any of them down. And you see what I did here? I explicitly put together intellect and emotions, because there's too many narrative out there saying that, women are just in their emotions and they can't be rational. You can have both, and we do have both. And so it's okay that we are made of many layers, of many passions, of many interests. And the reason why I'm insisting on this so much is that it sounds like it's obvious. It sounds like it should be a given, but it really isn't. When you talk to most people out there, and especially women again, we are scared most of the time to embrace certain of our interests out of fear of what others are going to think. And that's exactly from this problem, because they don't expect that from us, because it's going to somehow tarnish the image or the persona that I've been building, or that people have been building for myself. And I'm saying this because it's been one of my massive issues for so long. I've been wanting to surf, to learn surfing since my childhood. And it took me forever, until my 30s, to actually start doing it, because there was this preconceived idea in many people's mind that it went with being lazy, with like you can't have a corporate job and surf. And actually, this is story day today. I was working in a corporate job where another of my managers did kind of gossip around a past collaborator, which is already, speaks loud about this person. But he basically mentioned how terrible this past collaborator was. And one of the reasons, when I asked him what was wrong with that person, was, oh, he was kind of this woo person that would get up in the morning and go surfing before he would show up to the office. Which, in my book, it actually means that you're more disciplined than any of them combined, right? You have the discipline to actually get up at 5 a.m, to go out surfing, take care of your health, do your passion, and then go on with your day and still do your corporate job. But somehow, in the collective mind, it has some sort of negative connotation to it. And it somehow means that you are this lazy person that shouldn't be doing any consulting job. And I think that unconsciously, I had that in my mind. No one explicitly told me you cannot start surfing, but I have heard this narrative for so long throughout the years that surfers are this or that profile, and therefore I kind of knew that I shouldn't be doing this because it would impact the persona that I had been building in the corporate world. And this is something that I'm still facing today. Obviously, I've been doing so much work on myself regarding this that I'm overcoming it, but you have to understand that right now I'm starting this digital creator journey, after having a completely different business in a completely different industry that was waste management, that was way more connected to the corporate world, that I guess was serving a cause that speaks to more people. And now I have to do this switch where many people, when I try to explain what I'm trying to do, will tell me, oh, so you're just now trying to be like an influencer, or, you know, kind of diminishing this whole thing and telling me like, oh, you're just downgrading in your professional life. I somehow in their book went from this person that cares for the world and cares for the environment to someone that's just self-centered and selfish and superficial, because that's where their mind go when they hear about my transition. And again, because I've been doing all this work, my mind is able to actively overcome this and to consciously identify those issues and overcome them. But I'm thinking about many people that just, you know, internalize all those comments again and again and again. And that's what makes it so difficult for them to, you know, take a first step or go against what people expect from them. And so to me, what helps me the most with these things is curiosity. It may sound silly, but if you let your curiosity be stronger than what people say about what you want to try, then you will just naturally try different things, even a little, and decide for yourself which you want to actually go further into. And that's actually something that's being highlighted by the author Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote this book called Big Magic, and basically she insists that curiosity is what leads to a more fulfilled life. You have to start from curiosity to decide what you want to be persistent in. And so the thing that you want to avoid at all costs is falling into that trap of people pleasing and falling into the fear of judgment. And these two things combined are exactly why every time that you want to try something where you don't dare either taking the first step or embracing something that you've been wanting to do for a long time, that little voice is exactly the combination of these two things. You want to make others around you happy. Obviously, you want to make them happier than yourself. And you are scared of how they're going to perceive you, right? That they might think you're just scattered, or they might think that you're not credible, or that they don't take you seriously, all these things. But you don't owe anyone consistency. You owe yourself honesty, however. I'm going to let that sink in. And the thing is that I know that sometimes it takes one success to feel more comfortable about being more assertive about what you like, right? So I know in my case, the first time that I took some bold steps in my life, the first few times it was very difficult, right? You have everyone in your circle, and I'm actually pretty well surrounded. My circle is usually quite supportive, but you always hear some worries, or some people around you not being fully aligned with what you want to do, what you want to try. And if I take the example of going traveling, trading the corporate life for backpacking, you will always have your family, your friends kind of worrying about you, thinking what may happen on the opposite side of the world. Are you going to leave your career to just go and backpack and, in their opinion, just chill? These are things that I heard, and I'm happy that I went for it anyway, because I thrived doing this. I thrived in any possible respect. Even financially at the time, I was doing well. I was just sorting everything for myself. I learned how to speak English. It landed me some more jobs, some more opportunities, met some amazing people that are still some of my best friends to this day. My point being that when my surroundings saw me thriving after I kind of went for it and just like embraced my decision, they started trusting in me a little bit more. You know, when the next bold decision came into the picture, well, they were probably still a bit worried, but they're like, okay, I think she probably knows better for herself, because she made that decision before. I didn't agree with it, but she did well, so let me give it a chance. And then the more successes you have, or the more, you know, the happier you get, or the more you try different things and you're actually okay doing it, and the more support you're going to get for your next bold choice, bold decision. And that's usually because a lot of these people that have expectations for you, it's not necessarily these evil thoughts that people have where they want you to do badly. It sometimes comes from a place of concern, of worries. Yeah, they mean well, even though it's not the best for you, they actually mean well for you. And so my point is maybe to help you make these decisions and be a bit stronger in making these decisions for yourself, even when it seems like people around you don't want you to do it, or don't believe that it's a good thing for you, or don't expect you to do this, and think that it's not like you, or these sort of things. Try to think back on some decisions that you've made in the past and that people didn't really believe in and it turned out to be good. Maybe for some of you, you won't be able to think of anything. Maybe some of you may think of something not as big as like throwing away your corporate career to travel, but something, an activity that you started and people were like, oh, I didn't picture you doing this. And then you turned out to be great at it after a few years, after a few months, or you turned out to just love it, not even being good at it. All these little successes kind of add up. And if you remember something like that, it's going to comfort you a bit more for your next decision and for this next bold step that you want to take. And so I guess where I'm going with this is that in order to thrive as a multifaceted woman, you need to own it. And you need to not just stay in your head and then what I'm saying in this video, but actually put it into action, into concrete, actionable steps. And that can start with very little simple things. For instance, the way you introduce yourself. Let's imagine that you are a multifaceted woman, especially in the work area, right? That you have a job, but you are also working on your personal project and you're also working on some freelancing project and you're also working whatever. Don't solely introduce yourself with one label, but embrace that you're doing many things and, just own it. Just introduce yourself clearly for what you do and who you are, which is, oh, I work on these many projects. I have this job, but I'm also passionate about this, this, and that. And I'm actually trying this new thing. Just embrace all your many facets. And if you're passionate about very different things that seem quite opposed, let's imagine some ballet and some video games, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Some things that don't seem to coexist so well. Embrace it just as much. Don't pick and choose what you're going to decide to introduce based on your audience, but really share it for how you like it. Sometimes very simple things like that and the way you talk about things and you really own it can reframe your entire perspective and the way you think of yourself. And one of the most important things to really own being a multifaceted person is to surround yourself with multi-passionate people. I repeat it all the time, but because it's so important. And that's not saying burn bridges with anyone that is not multi-passionate, multi-potentialites around you. That's not at all what I'm saying. But you need to have some multi-passionate people around you, even if it's not in your very close circle, but open yourself to different circles where multi-passionate people are there. Open yourself to them and you will feel so much better about yourself. It's just a natural thing. When you can relate to people and when you feel like there's a connection and you can feel that some people that don't even know you as well as your close circle can see through you so much clearer, that will naturally make you feel so much better about yourself and about your interests and your passion. Because being multi-passionate, being multifaceted truly is your superpower. And trust me, many of these people that make you feel like they're slowing you down, it's usually coming from a place of maybe not envy, but a bit of admiration for how brave you are to be willing to embrace so many things. Not so many people can take that on their shoulders, And if all this resonates with you, I would love for you to subscribe and also comment on your experience. Have you ever been told that you're too much? Have you ever been told to fit in one certain box that you've been wanting to break out of? And if there's some stories that you would like to share, I would love to hear from them and also see if there's some commonalities or some things that are coming out of it that I could talk about in the next video. So, and you know what I'm realizing? I actually hate conclusions. I always have to do 10 different takes to manage to get something decent. So from now on, I'm just going to stop making any conclusion. So this is it.